And welcome back to another episode of The Fighter and the Analyst. I'm your host, GK The Fight Analyst, and this here is my man, the Joker himself, Peter Petties. What's up, man? How's it going?
Another day, another dollar. Life is good. Can't complain.
Absolutely, man. Glad to be back. I know we took a little hiatus. You know, things happen, life happens, but we're back. UFC 262 fight week. I am super stoked. UFC lightweight championship on the line. Michael Chandler taking on Charles Oliveira is going to be absolutely insane fight. Tony Ferguson taking on Beneil Dariush. It's just insane fight card. But anyways, we need to talk about you. How's it going, man? What have you been up to? How's life? How's training? We need to know everything.
Man, I can't complain. Life is good. Recently, as we last talked, I think, switched jobs to a better role. What I would say, it's a different role, but the same type of flexibility where I'm just living the life of training and working remotely. Life is good. Got a nice little pay increase, and this month it's a lot of training, so I'm just going to keep it on the low. Yeah, life is good. Life is good. Training's going well. I have no complaints on this side, honestly.
That's great, man. Great to hear. Good spirits. I know you're getting a lot of shit done. You know, things starting to come in place there. I wanted to kind of touch base on our fight card last week. Lost 2 fights on the card. Came down to only like 9 or 10 fights on the fight card. It was kind of like a little wonky, but I wanted to get into the matchup that you were kind of invested in. That's Stefan's matchup against Park. I want to know your takeaway from that fight, in your perspective.
My big thing is, the one thing about it is MMA, and one of those things you can't have an off night. And at the end of the day, fortunately, he had an off night, and honestly, he had an off camp. It's nothing I would publicly say during his camp before, but the camp was pretty crappy. And what I mean by it's not really I don't want to say crappy, but when you think about it, honestly, him and both Sadiq, they both caught coronavirus. There was 2 times where during the coronavirus, it was in the middle of training camp. They couldn't train during that time, and then trying to piece it together after that. Just a lot of things that led up to that fight being less than admirable. If anyone knows, it's one of those things where if you say saw Teflon on a contender, you can see this clearly was not the same guy. I think it'll be good. He'll be back. I hope people start sleeping on him now. Just, next one, he can cash in on us. And the odds are going to maybe we get him at an underdog status. I can tell you, even going into it, I was a little worried. I didn't lay no money on. Actually, I did. But it was after as we texted, it was after he rehydrated that I was like, boy, it might be good. I could say it's the weight cut. I think it was one of those. And what I mean by it is, he was cutting. I think sometimes when you have camp, and though we had the in-sound chef from Lockhart, you can tell most of the camp was spent watching his weight as opposed to sharpening the tools. And I think, honestly, it was one of those things where we saw it. I know personally, I'm like, hey, he's never had any trouble. He's knocking out heavyweights prior to the UFC. He was fighting at heavyweight in 205. So, for me, who's also going up a weight class now, I'm at the point where I'm really, if even next camp, I'm going to be very monitorative and just being like, man, I don't know if 85 is the move. And what I mean by it is, yes, he's a very undersized 205er and let alone heavyweight. But what I'm saying is that guy who fought at 185 on Saturday is not the same Teflon that I know. And, the Teflon I know, speed-wise, should not even have been that slow. To me, it just looked a little lethargic. I don't know if it was the weight cut or if it's the drastic coming down and then booming back up. But like I said, from the guy that I know, and what I mean by the guy that I've known Teflon from when he first walked in the gym with no experience, and even when he was 320 pounds, the kid moved. Yeah, when he was that big, he moved like a lightweight. And, this camp, he's low, but he's losing his speed. He's losing his pop. And, it's one of those things where I think before we see him back out, he's going to go through a little evolution phase, really take it all in. And honestly, he's young, man. He's only 26. I think people forget Teflon, though he has an older African face. He's 26, man. He's
Yeah,
only 5-0. And I think right now, the only good thing from us betting people and people that know him know that was a very off performance. And he'll be back, man. I'm not really worried about him. I know how hard the guy works. But yeah, he'll be good, man. I'm not really worried. It's just one of those where it sucks that in MMA you have one off performance and people are ready to write you off, and
right.
you can't have an off game. But then in the NBA, a team can lose 20 games and still be in playoff, and people are still riding them. So it's one of those things. You're only as good as your last fight. It's nice to see some of these huggers hop off the train. Just stay there. Don't come back when he gets back on. So.
No, I'm with it. I still think he didn't have, it wasn't his best performance, obviously, but I feel the cut to 185 is just, I think it's a little too drastic. I mean, I feel like at 205, he was still just as strong, if not stronger than some of these 205ers as it is. I mean, we saw him at 225 against William Knight. Do you see how strong he was against William Knight? William Knight's a freaking brute. And he was fighting him at 225. He was able to defend takedowns for at least 3.5 minutes. It was very impressive. I still think he should be fighting at that weight class, but we'll see. I still think he's great at whatever weight class he feels he's good in. It's just he's got the tools, and I'm waiting to see where he goes from here. But altogether, that fight card kind of was very lackluster, definitely from a betting perspective as well. Definitely sucked for me. I think Klein. I don't know if you saw the fight with Klein and Chisano. Did you watch that?
No, I actually turned it off after Stefan's fight.
Damn.
Sometimes when you're emotionally invested like that, you just can't. I watched boxing the rest of the night. The Canelo card was actually really good. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that
when
was.
you're emotionally invested in the
Yeah, I
MMA,
know.
sometimes you take those losses harder than your own, and you're just like, man, fuck this. Check another
No,
day.
I pretty much done that for the first half of 2021. So I I feel you on that. Yeah. So, but yeah, let's get into the breakdown this week's fight card. UFC 262 on tap. Great fight card. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what we got up here. All right, so our first fight up is a fight in the lightweight division between Christos Giagos and Sean Soriano. Giagos is 17-8, Soriano 14-6, 5-10 for Giagos, 5-9 Sean Soriano, 71.5-inch reach for Giagos, 70-inch reach for Soriano. Right now, the odds are Giagos is a minus 210 favorite. And the comeback on Soriano's a plus 175 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm going with Sean Soriano on this one, and main thing, I think we're getting a good underdog price on him. From being down at Sanford MMA, I could say the guy is always training. He's one of those guys who's always in the room. He's at strength and conditioning, not 7 days a week, but for every scheduled time. Like I said, I trained down there when I was last year getting back in shape coming off the surgery. And the one thing I can say, the guy trains even when he doesn't have a fight. He's just in the room. And I think that's one thing you always want to see. I know this is a short notice opportunity, but whenever you're training full time, even outside of fight camp or outside of anything scheduled, you're ready for this type of opportunity. And I think he's ready to step in. I'm not too familiar with Giagos, but I can say just looking at his record, I think this is a perfect short notice opportunity for Sean Soriano to reintroduce himself to the UFC. But yeah, I'm going with Sean Soriano on the underdogs. I think we're getting a good value on it. So mind that.
You think he's going to be good enough to defend takedowns on a short notice against someone as
Mm-hmm.
big as Giagos?
Yeah, the reason I say it is because, man, if there's anything I was really impressed with the Sanford room is that wrestling practice. The wrestling practice was good, nonstop action. Yeah, it was it really reminded me of college wrestling and one of the things that I missed. The chain wrestling, and you got to think he's training with the guys like Adam Boric in there. Now they got Darren Caldwell in that room. You got Michael Chandler in that room. And I can tell you from being in there, he's training with them. You got Logan Storley. You got a number of wrestlers. I'm not saying he's going to be in there going for double legs, but I'm saying is I'm sure on a daily basis training with these wrestlers, I'm going, like I said, I think his takedown defense will.
That's very interesting because I didn't see it that way. To be honest with you, I thought it'd be pretty much an easy fight for Giagos because we've seen Soriano struggle with very good grapplers in the past. He's been subbed 4 out of his 6 losses as well, so we know once it hits the mat, it's kind of in the other person's ballpark. But we haven't really seen that as of late. Maybe he's progressed since then. My pick would be Giagos just because short notice fight, going up against a guy that's much bigger than him, I think, in size and strength wise, and going against his glaring weakness that we've seen in the past is his wrestling. But at a minus 210 price, definitely cannot bet it at that. But I probably would go with the over 2.5 rounds, which is, let's see if I could get it, but all right. The over 2.5 rounds minus 205. I don't even see any value there, but yeah, I got Giagos winning.
Like I said, the dog sniffer here. I think we got a good dog value here on Sean Soriano, man.
I mean, it's possible, but I mean, this whole card is littered with underdogs that I feel like we could cash in underdog bets like at least 4 more after this one.
I agree.
Because there's like this entire card is so evenly matched. The matchmaking was, spot on for this fight card, big time. So I'm all right. Our next fight up is a fight in the featherweight division between Kevin Aguilar and Tucker Lutz. Aguilar 17-4, Lutz 11-1, and I don't know the size of Tucker Lutz over here, but right now the price on Lutz is a minus 120 favorite, and the comeback on Aguilar is a plus 100 underdog. What do you got?
Oh, I feel bad saying this, but I'm going Kevin Aguilar, man. And it's bad because Tucker's a local guy. I wouldn't mind him getting the dub. I ain't got no hate for him. But I do believe he took the easy route to the UFC. And what I mean by it is, Shogun, we fought on the card a few times. And it's one of those things where if you look at his track record, he's fought a lot of favorite opponents from the area. Really got fed, I hate to say, a very easy route. Hasn't really had any opposition, even on his contender fight. And this is me trying to break it down from the most logical way without sounding like a hater. Like even on the contender fight, of all the contender contracts that were given, he definitely got, come on now. It was like Dana's always saying you have to earn your way. I have to be impressed. He didn't do anything to impress in that fight. He won a 3-round decision that really probably shouldn't have even gotten him a contract. So, it's hard. When I put it this way, it's hard for me to not sound like a hater knowing him and being from the area. Not like I want him to win. Don't get me wrong. He goes out there. But when I look at it statistically, Kevin Aguilar's been on a rough streak. I don't know what the hell has happened to him since signing to the UFC. But if we just go, as we talk about resume for resume, you look pre-UFC, yes, he went to decision with Ige. Yeah, he got finished by Turgov. He lost a split to Charles Rosa. But if you look pre-UFC when he was on the Ultimate Fighter and LFA, and you take even his win against Damon Jackson, you take his win against knocking out Don Lee, you know what I mean? Rick Glenn, you don't have these type of wins on Tucker Lutz's record. And for Kevin Aguilar to be an underdog, it's a little bit of a little disrespect in what I look at. But, if Tucker Lutz goes out there and wins, hey, shout out to Tucker Lutz. But, when I look at it, I don't know what happened to Kevin Aguilar. I don't know if they weren't drug testing down in Dallas when he was fighting in LFA. But, man, his UFC drop-off, he hasn't looked like anything pre-UFC that he looked like, So, but I'm going with him.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's definitely way more experienced than Tucker Lutz. Like, the resumes aren't even remotely close. It's just where Kevin Aguilar just kind of fell off those last 3 fights. I mean, getting outstruck by Rosa is not good Not good. Rose is not one to outstrike his opponents, and to get outstruck by him, very bad. I feel like his movement's not there anymore. He's just getting hit a ton. He's just coming forward. He's not moving his head, so he gets tagged a ton. And we haven't seen his power in a while. So, but maybe it's a new fighter. He hasn't fought in a while. Maybe he's progressed. Maybe he's gotten better. There's a lot of question marks. And then we come to Tucker Lutz, where we've seen him time and time again fade in fights. He faded in both his Contender Series fights. We've seen him fade late in both of them, and their opponents were kind of coming back. Gibson came back on him late. And I even think Blackledge was doing the same as well. So if Kevin Aguilar can weather the early storm, the calf kicks, the pressure, and doesn't get knocked out, I think he does have a chance to spoil an upset here. It's possible. That's how I see it. I don't think I want to bet it. I don't want to trust him right now. 3-fight losing streak. He hasn't looked great, but if I had to pick, I'm probably taking Aguilar here. And plus these Contender Series guys, I love taking them, but they always tend to lose on their debuts all the time. I feel like they're only hitting at like 30-something% right now on their debuts. So kind of want to stay clear from that. All right, next up, we have a fight in the women's flyweight division between Gina Mazzani and Priscilla Cachoeira. Mazzani is 7-4. Priscilla's 9-3. 5-6 for Mazzani. 5-7 for Priscilla. 6.5-inch reach for Mazzani. 65-inch reach for Priscilla. Right now, the line is set at minus 210 for Mazzani, and Priscilla's plus 175 underdog. Who do you got?
And this is a tough one. I'm not really too favored on either one. Please refresh my memory. Is Mazzani the one who is dating Tim Elliott or no?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay. This is a tough coin flip fight.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Mazzani just based off of her being out of Glory MMA, and they tend to have a good game plan in fights. She's gonna go for takedowns. So yeah, I'm going out of a limb and going with Mazzani just based off of Glory MMA. I have a little man crush on that training camp. I think
you should head out
they're just one of those little camps where like they always give you a bang for your buck type of thing. Where
right.
I'm pretty sure they gotta be batting like 90% now. Like other than
Jason Witt.
Yeah, other than Jason Witt recently. But I think this year in general, I think like their camp is definitely hitting somewhere between that, if not 90, maybe like a good 85%.
No, definitely no. They're on a level right now.
Yeah, so yeah, I would go with Mazzani just based off that, honestly.
Yeah, I kind of think the same, but minus 210. Yeah, I just can't do it. But I do think she goes in there, takes her down. I mean, she only has 69% takedown defense. She gets hit a ton too, Priscilla. So, and Eli over here saying zombie KO prop. Don't forget. Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna go ahead and bet on Priscilla Cachoeira by knockout. It's not gonna happen.
I mean, she caught my girl Shauna with that uppercut. So I mean, the girl has a little bit of pop, I can say. So if she does, good job. I wouldn't mind playing that prop. I'm just seeing a comment over here. Yeah, I did not like that Rosa loss at all. But yeah, no, I would definitely. This is one of those things. I'm just saying my pick. I am not playing this. Disclaimer. Disclaimer on that. I'm just giving y'all a pick. I'm not saying play it at all. The other picks that I gave y'all, yes, play, but not this one.
Yeah, definitely not. All right, let's get on to the next fight. Next fight up. Hold on a second. All right, next fight up is a fight in the middleweight division between Jordan Wright and Jamie Pickett. Jordan Wright's 11-1, 0-1. Jamie Pickett is 11-4. Both 6'2", 77-inch reach for Wright, 82-inch reach for Pickett. Right now it's basically a pick 'em. Right now, Jordan Wright's minus 115, and the comeback on Jamie Pickett's minus 105. Who do you got?
I think we got a good little. I'm gonna fade Jordan Wright on this one. I think my boy Jamie Pickett's gonna come through. And I think it's gonna be a sloppy fight. But yeah, I wanted to fade him against Buckley, and I ended up going with him, and he got slept by Buckley. I'm going with Jordan. I'm going with Jamie Pickett. I really like Pickett's toughness, and I really think Pickett should be able to get it done against Jordan Wright. But we'll see. This is one of those where I'm just saying it. I'm not playing it at all. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Pickett on this one on a limb.
I I don't. I obviously would not bet in this fight. We'll
Yeah.
just put that disclaimer out there. But if I had to choose, I would probably go with Jamie Pickett. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter. I think he could take a punch better. We've seen him take a punch from Tefon and then get deaded. So I feel like he's tougher in there. The only thing I don't like is he's super low volume and he's not a guy that's coming forward. Whereas Jordan Wright will definitely throw a lot more volume, stay on the outside, throw kicks, and he could possibly win a decision just by doing that shit. If Jamie Pickett's not willing to just exchange with him. That's my only drawback taking Pickett, but I do think he's a better fighter. I do think he'll probably get a takedown or two, get some control time. But yeah, I got Jamie Pickett, not betting this fight. All right, next fight up is a fight in the flyweight division between Andrea Lee and Antonina Shevchenko. Lee is 11-5. Shevchenko is 8-2, 5'6" for Lee, 5'8" for Shevchenko, 69.5-inch reach for Lee, 67-inch reach for Shevchenko. Right now, the line is set at one second. What the hell is it? Okay, I'm losing my mind here. Everybody. All right. Minus 126 for Shevchenko, plus 110 for Andrea Lee. What do you got?
What was the line on Shevchenko?
It's actually minus 125. And the comeback on Lee's plus 1-5.
Interesting. We're getting a good line on Shevchenko, and I'm all over Shevchenko.
Really?
I think we've seen her turn a corner in her last fight. Don't get me wrong, I love fading Shevchenko. But yeah, I'm going with her on this. I think she, we watched Valentina dominate. She was in Valentina's camp. I thought her last fight she looked phenomenal. So yeah, I'm going Shevchenko. I think we're getting a good line with her, and I'm all with her riding the wave on this one.
It's I think I'm gonna go with Andrea Lee here. I'm not gonna lie. Plus 105. I think she's a good dog. This is the first fight where she doesn't have to defend takedowns. If we've seen her in the last three fights, that's kind of the reason why she's lost her last three fights. She'll get taken down, controlled a little bit. But here, she could be the one to control the fight on the mat if she wanted to take it there. We've seen Shevchenko get taken down numerous times. I don't know if her takedown defense has gotten better since Chikagian was mounting her. And
Chikagian's charger really quick.
Again. And Chikagian was able to mount her and get on top. And she's definitely not one of the most best known wrestlers in the division. So I do think Lee could keep it close on the feet. She does great volume. And I think she can mix in the takedowns at plus 105 at a dog price. I think she could cash in here. She's another dog I'm looking to cash a bet on. One of the I think 4 or 5 dogs I got on this card. All right. Next fight up is in the featherweight division between Lando Venata and Mike Grundy. Venata is 11-5-2. Mike Grundy 12-2. 5'9" for Venata. 5'7" for Grundy. 71-inch reach for Venata. 72-inch reach for Grundy. Right now, Grundy is a minus 125 favorite, and the comeback on Venata is a plus 105 underdog. Who do you got?
Tough. I'm going to lean towards Grundy, but I ain't playing it. I'm going with Grundy just out the limb. I think Venata fights too close for me.
I'm kind of confident in Grundy in this spot. Kind of confident. Just because he has that relentless takedowns that Venata is known to wilt against in his entire career. He's not won a single UFC fight where he's gotten taken down one time. Not one time. So in each of the fights that he's got taken down once, he's lost. So Grundy's going to come in with the pace. He's coming in with the pressure. He's definitely going to land takedowns. Venata has never fought at 145 before, so we've seen him fade at 155. So I think he's more certainly going to fade at 145. But we'll see what happens there. But I do think that Grundy is just going to, grind him out, beat him up on the mat. And he knows that's his weakness. So I know that he's going to go in with that game plan. He's not going to go in there and try to strike, with Venata. So I'm happy that he knows where his strengths are and he's going to go for it. But I do like him. I think he has a great advantage on the mat and he should be able to take him down effortlessly. I mean, he was able to take down Mofsar 6 times. He almost got that Darce choke on him. He said that he grabbed his forearm instead of his bicep, which is why he got out. And we've seen Venata get Darced by Tony Ferguson. So maybe we could see another. But I got Grundy here. I think we're getting a good line on minus 125 on him as well. All right. Next up is the featured fight on the prelims at 185 pounds between Jacare Souza and Andre Muniz. Souza is 26-0-1, Muniz 20-4, both 6'1", 72-inch reach for Souza, 78-inch reach for Muniz. Right now, the line is set at Souza minus 125 and Muniz plus 105 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm going with Souza. I think we're going to see a resurgence. I know he's coming off that fight where you can say it was a fluke and probably one of those little knockouts from Kevin Holland. I don't think he respected. I mean, how many people really saw that punch coming that Kevin Holland landed on him? So I'm going with the motivated Jacare Souza looking to get back in the win column.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I mean, I'm just not big on Muniz. I mean, his striking is next to nothing. Souza is not a great striker as it is, but he still has power in his hands, and he's never been submitted. And Muniz is, a BJJ black belt. Majority of his wins are by submission. Don't see him getting a submission there. So I think Souza has the power on the feet. He's definitely going to do the more damage. He might even be able to take him down and get the submission. So I got Souza as well. Minus 125. Not a bad price. I think he's still good enough to beat someone like Muniz. So you look at Souza and who he's fought, it's just the upper echelon of the division. And Muniz is definitely not at that level.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next fight is the first fight on the main card. What a fight to start the main card. Arguably the best fight on the card. At 145 pounds between Shane Burgos and Edson Barbosa. Burgos 13-2, Barbosa 21-9, both 5'11", 75.5-inch reach for Burgos, 75-inch reach for Barbosa. Right now, Burgos is a minus 140 favorite, and the comeback on Barbosa is a plus 120 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm going with Barbosa, and I think just out of a limb, I honestly know Burgos from the regional scene, him being an East Coast guy, and I think he just gets hit too much. I know the pressure has been known to break Barbosa, but I think he might turn a corner here. I think this is a big step down compared to who he's been facing when you count that against who we got, Justin Gaethje when he was on his losing streak, Paul Felder, Ige, and even in those fights, he lost split decisions, and you can really argue that he won those. I think he honestly did beat Ige. And Felder. I mean, it's one of those things where he just hit a rough patch, and I think he looked really good against Mark One. I thought he looked really good there, and I think right now, stylistically, I don't think Shane Burgos' defense is the best for a guy like Barbosa. He's a very come forward, I'm going to walk you down type of striker. And Barbosa eats on guys like that. If you walk forward, he's just going to quick switch kick you, jab, switch. He has great footwork, great movement. And I think he's going to be making Burgos chase him around. And Burgos can be eating some shots. And I know his defense is not up to par. And I think we could see Barboza with a sneaky little KO somewhere away. But I'm going with Barboza on this.
I like that. I like that. Because I could totally picture that happening. Because we've seen Burgos get hit a ton. He's what, absorbing 5.81 strikes per minute, which is pretty atrocious. He's pretty much, hands down coming forward, throw a ton of volume. I mean, he's definitely out voluming Barbosa by like a massive. He's throwing 14.62 strikes per minute, landing 7.31, so 50%. That's absurd. And normally he's drowning his opponents with volume, but he gets hit a ton while he does it. He lost to Josh Emmett, who had one ACL while he was fighting that fight for 15 minutes, and knocked him down twice with one ACL. So, and he's been knocked down 5 times in 3 of his last 5 fights. And not in 2 of them were, respectable, Josh Emmett and Calvin Kattar, but then he got knocked down by Kurt Holloway as well, if we forget. That's not good against somebody like Barbosa. His hands have looked a lot better, a lot sharper. He's using his hands a lot more in his striking other than his just his kicks, which is great here as well. I think we're seeing an evolution in his boxing, and I think that will help with the pace and the pressure. So I feel like the way you're saying, he'll probably dance around, kind of stay on the outside, use his jab, use his kicks. He's definitely going to land that liver shot at least once. That's going to hurt him. That's going to slow Burgos down. He's going to land a head kick at some point. I mean, it's just the inevitable. So if those types of strikes land, I see him getting the knockout here. I mean, Barbosa did land a knockdown, 3 knockdowns in his 2 fights in the featherweight division already. He knocked down Barbosa. He knocked down Ige. He almost finished him, and he almost finished Makwan. I think he knocked him down twice. So 3 knockdowns in 2 fights at 145. Should be 2-0 at 145. Let's put it that way as well. And he's looking the best he's actually ever looked. He should be on a 3-fight win streak, and we're getting him at a good plus 120 price. It's not bad. I like it. I like where your head's at. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have a fight in the flyweight division between Caitlin Chookagian and Viviane Araújo. Right now, Chookagian 14-4, Araújo 10-2, 5'9" for Chookagian. Viviane 5'4", both 68-inch reach. Chookagian minus 135 favorite, and Araújo is a plus 115 underdog. Who do you got?
Oh man, it's hard to go with Chookagian after she broke my heart against what's your name who just lost?
Oh, Jessica Andrade.
Yeah.
I was big on that.
I know you were. I know. Whenever you take an L like that after you're so invested, you kind of give them a side eye again, and you get a sour taste in your mouth.
I feel that.
So, it's one of those. I think she should be able to win. I'm not playing it, but I think she should take the dub here.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I really wanted to play the dog here, but it's just like something's telling me that, we're going to get the vintage Chookagian fight where she throws a bunch of volume, doesn't land anything. Viviane fades in the 3rd round, and then that 3rd round's a deciding round because, she's just throwing more volume, and then Viviane's just literally throwing nothing because she can't keep her hands up. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's the kind of fight we're going to get, and I don't really want a part of it. I really do like the underdog price in Viviane, but man, I just can't do it. And even though I think she has the skills, she has the power, she's got the volume, she's got the grappling. It's just she tends to fade as the fight goes on, and Chookagian has great cardio, so she could punch at air for 15 minutes and win a fight. She could do it. All right. Next fight up is a fight at bantamweight because it's a short notice fight between Matt Schnell and Rogerio Bontorin. Schnell 15-5, Bontorin 16-3, 0-1, 5'8" for Schnell, 5'5" for Bontorin, 70-inch reach for Schnell. Bontarin's 67-inch reach. Right now, the line is set at Schnell minus 160 favorite, and Bontarin is a plus 140 underdog. Who do you got?
I've never really bet against Matt Schnell, so I'm keeping that streak going with him on this one. I think he's a gamer, always comes to fight, and always good value. So I'm going with Matt Schnell on this one.
I'm actually confident in Bontarin in this fight. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. If you look at his fights, he was actually able to outstrike Bibulatov in his short notice debut. Very impressive. And then he beat Raulian Paiva, bloodied him up. It was a doctor stoppage. I think that was very impressive. And then he almost finishes Kai Kara France by rear naked choke, but unfortunately he gassed himself out, and France got back to his feet and just knocked him into next Tuesday. And then he lost to Ray Borg, who was overweight, so you can't really fault him there. But in this fight, you have Schnell, who has about no power when it comes to striking. He has 0 finishes by strikes in his UFC time, only 2 in his entire career. Most of his wins are either by decision or submission. Bontarin's only been submitted once, and he has 11 submission wins under his belt. And I think he should be able to take down Schnell since he only has a 56% takedown defense, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And I think Bontarin's power, and the willingness to just be able to come forward, I don't think he should be able to. I don't think Schnell's power is going to be able to keep him going backwards. So I think Bontarin should be able to get him down, ride him out from top control, stay on top of him. And then also Schnell loves to play from his guard. I don't think he's going to sub Bontarin off his back. So I'm taking Bontarin as an underdog. I think he has a chance at a sub prop, which is plus 700. Yeah, I'm going with Bontarin here. Plus 140.
I like it.
All right. Next up is the co-main event on this fight card between Tony Ferguson and Beneil Dariush. Ferguson's 26-4, Dariush 24-1, 5'11" for Ferguson, 5'10" for Dariush. 76.5-inch reach for Ferguson. Dariush 72-inch reach. Right now, Dariush is a minus 175 favorite, and the comeback on Ferguson is a plus 155 underdog. Who do you got?
Man, I was all over Beneil Dariush, and I just watched a recent clip of, I guess, the presser. And, Tony looked like, well, he said he hit up his old coaches, and he looked like he had a little resurgence. I think this is going to be a crazy fight because both of them fight absolutely crazy, where they're just going to be hitting each other, and it's a matter of who's going to drop first. With that said, I always like Tony in those type of who's going to drop first type of thing. I do think Beneil gets hit too much, and his chin's a little suspect. But when I think about it, who do I want to go with? And I think we're getting a good value on Tony, so I'm going to go with Tony on the whim. I'm probably not playing it. I'll give my disclaimer there, but I think we're getting a good value. My heart is telling me Beneil, but the pressure and Tony telling me hit up his old coaches, and I think we may see an old little Tony, but I think technique-wise, this is the type of fight that Tony favors. Just it's going to be an absolute brawl, and wherever we get a brawler, I think you saw Beneil Dariush, who was at Diego Ferreira, his last fight, where he was hitting him with the cleaner shots, but Diego also was coming back. And it was a matter of who dropped first. And luckily Ferreira kind of went welted earlier. I met later in that fight. But I'm going with Tony on a limb. Not saying play it, but I think there's good value on Tony.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was thinking Dariush, and even wrote it in my article. But like now, looking at the presser, he actually looks like the old Tony.
Mm-hmm.
If we saw his last fight, he looked old. He looked aged, right?
Yeah.
When he shaved his head, he just looked old.
Mm-hmm.
He looks revitalized. He looks younger. He's wittier. He's still the crazy Tony that we know.
Yep.
Um, and then Darius says, "Oh, he'll out crazy Tony if he has to." That's I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want you to go do you, which is grapple, take him down, wear him out, get a submission, or just beat him up. But we've seen Darius also fade. Tony never fades. I mean, he's still got great cardio. I mean, he gets hit a ton, but he never fades. And we've seen Darius get cracked a lot. Fieta, he cracked him. Jakar Close cracked him. And it could happen here. If he gets into a firefight, he's playing with fire. Get into
Mm-hmm.
that type of fight with Tony Ferguson. So, and we're getting a good line on him actually too. Plus 155, and everybody's quick to write him off. But he lost to two guys that are not one Gaethje who fought for the championship, and then you now have Charles Oliveira who is currently fighting for the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And then Darius's last win was Diego Fajeda. If that isn't a massive step up, then I don't know what is. So I'm riding Tony Ferguson with you here too. I like it. Good play. Good play.
Thank
All right. And we're finally up to our main event of the evening for the lightweight championship. It's a fight between Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler. Oliveira 29 8-0 and 1, 22 and 5 for Chandler, 5 for 10 for Oliveira, 5 for 8 for Chandler, 74-inch reach for Oliveira, 71.5-inch reach for Chandler. The line is set at minus 135 for Oliveira, plus 115 underdog for Chandler. Who do you got?
Oh man, so I am a huge Michael Chandler fan, and I was all on Michael Chandler until the presser, and then I started looking at it, and I feel like we're starting to get set up with, the UFC wants Michael Chandler to win this, but are we not respecting Charles Oliveira? I think we're going to get a great fight, and I'm still going with my boy Michael Chandler. But I think we're going to get a good fight. I think a lot of people are not, for all the people who weren't on the Chandler train before his UFC debut, I think they kind of hopped on. But I think we're also starting to overlook Oliveira and forgetting that Oliveira is a changed Oliveira. This isn't the same guy who lost to Max Holloway. This isn't the same guy that Cub Swanson put down with the hook when he was like 22. We watched Oliveira mature before our eyes through the years, and man, he's just looked like a killer. He's walked through. He beat the crap out of Ferguson. He beat the crap out of, who else did he beat the crap out of before?
Kevin Lee.
Kevin Lee. And these aren't. I think we almost kind of discredit how easy he's made his fights look. Recently. If anybody else did the things that he did to Tony Ferguson, the things that he did to Kevin Lee, yes, you can say Jarrett Gordon, maybe he was just too big, too small for the weight class. But the way that he's finishing these guys, I don't think he's getting enough respect for the streak that he's been on since 2018 at this point, and it's 2021. So I think we're gonna get a nice little barn burner here. We got a mature Charles Oliveira who's coming to his prime, it looked like. And I think we're getting we're getting a really great main event that's really doesn't really have the pay-per-view backing. Like, it's one of those cards I actually kind of forgot was this weekend, but it's one of those where I don't think they're giving him enough shine for the streak that he's been on. And I think I would not be surprised, even though he is the favorite, Oliveira, would not be surprised if he comes, in my eyes, with an upset. But I do like Michael Chandler. I really enjoyed him. I would say I might have a little emotional investment in this just because when you train with a guy and you meet him and you see like the guy that he puts on TV or when he does his interviews is actually who he is, it really makes you respect him a little bit more. So I'm all for Michael Chandler. I hope he gets the dub. He gets that title, cements himself as one of the best lightweights of all time, regardless of the promotion. But I think we're getting a really good treat of a main event this week, and I think it's a good MMA fans type of fight this weekend for the main event.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great one. I've been looking forward to it. it's gonna be a very close matchup. I don't think really either one of them is gonna run away with it. I just think I think this is Chandler's time, to come in to the UFC, get his belt, and solidify himself as one of the best, fighters at 155 pounds. I just think he has the it factor. I mean, he's got the whole package. He's got, great speed, great cardio, crazy good wrestling. He's arguably some of the best in the entire UFC now that he's there. Um, he's never been submitted. Never been submitted. He's faced high level jiu-jitsu black belts in his time. Gochi Yamuchi, Brent Primus. He's fought high level black belts. He's fought great strikers. He's fought Eddie Alvarez, went tooth and nail with him, and beat him. He's fought the best of the best. It's not like he's coming in here like he's a scrub. Like people don't think he deserved it, but he paid his dues, just not in the UFC, and he came in and got a emphatic win over one of the top contenders in Dan Hooker. The way he did it too was just impressive. But Oliveira, similarly impressive, 8-fight win streak. He dismantled Tony Ferguson. No one's ever really done what he did. He absolutely dominated him from bell to bell. That was super impressive there. And then beating the shit out of Kevin Lee is no hard feat. He evolved from the beating that he took from Paul Felder before that 8-fight win streak. He's grown since then. I just feel like the pace and the pressure of Chandler is gonna get to Oliveira. I don't see him being able to take Chandler down unless he's rolling for a leg or jumping on his back against the cage. I feel like the only way he's gonna be able to get to the mat is if he knocks him down with a knee, front kick to the face, an elbow, something opportunistic that's going to catch him off guard. He could do that. He's got really long limbs. And then we've seen Chandler get clipped before in the Pitbull fight when he overexerts himself. That's the dangers in his fighting style, as he's just going to come forward, and just put the pace and the pressure on you. Oliveira could definitely, he could stop him in his tracks, get the submission, but I feel like it's Chandler's time. I feel like he's just gonna put him out, much like he did Hooker, and get that win. I like him even by round 1 KO, which is plus 500. It could happen. He's got 13 first round finishes, 7 by knockout. So the dude comes in there, guns blazing. Last 3 wins by first round knockout as well. So got to keep that in mind. Comes in looking for the kill. I like it. I like that type of fighter. He fights for your money. Win or lose, I think it's still a good bet. Plus 115 on the underdog. I think it's worth it. But yeah, that's our our fight card, our breakdown for this week's amazing fight card. Thanks for coming, man. I know it was a little short notice, but we got it in. It's 11 o'clock. We're ready to head out. I'm ready to go to bed. Gotta wake up early for work tomorrow. But with that said, where can everybody catch you on social media, my man?
You guys can catch me at Why So Serious MMA, both on Twitter and Instagram. I'm shutting down Facebook because I've been getting a lot of friend requests, and I have no clue where this influx has been going on. So I'm not accepting anyone else. I don't know. It's weird. In like the last day or so, I probably had like 30 plus requests. And I'm like, where the hell are all these people coming from? I don't know. But I'm stopping. I'm not accepting many others. I'm just going to sort through for a second. But yeah, Instagram, Twitter. Do I have anything else? TikTok, but I'm not on there very much. But yeah, follow your boy. Got a lot of things I'm manifesting. Hopefully I'll be beating somebody up soon in 2021. But outside of that, yes, sir.
Hey, yes. Follow that, man. You guys know where to follow me at Fight Analyst LLC on Twitter and Instagram, and The Fight Analyst on Facebook. Get my plays, thefightanalyst.com. They'll be ready tomorrow after the weigh-ins. I need to make sure that everybody's looking good on the scales. And please support. Go check out my article at outkick.com. My whole betting guide for the main card and some great value plays there. So with that said, we will see you all cashing out at the ticket window. Until next time, you guys have a great night. Have a